explain about the facilities of the Tizen SDK which is going to come out in 2.4. But before that I'll have a very small question. How many of you have already tried out the SDK, 2.3 version at least? Okay, so okay, that's good. So how I'm going to organize my talk? Some parts I'm going to just introduce the facilities. I'm going to make a mention of what is there, then what is going to come out newly in 2.4. So both the kind of audience I would like to address. So if you see the slide, I have classified the kind of tasks what developers normally would be doing with SDK into 5 different types. First one, you are going to download the SDK and then install it. So that's a trivial step. You are going to do it for once, and after that you are going to continue with that. Then the second one, you may want to read the Tizen SDK docs that are there. It could be related to how to use an API or what facilities are present. It could be anything. Then the third one is the part where you are actually going to start developing the app. So that section I will cover in more details. And the fourth one is you are going to try out the apps which you have written either in the emulator or in the simulator. Okay. And the last step, obviously you want to upload that to Tizen store and generate revenue for yourself. Okay. There are some prerequisites which you will have to know before we start with the SDK. So mainly I am going to focus on 2.4 SDK version. In that one, there are 3 different kinds of hardware profile which is going to be supported. The first one is the mobile profile, second one is the wearable profile, third one is going to be the TV profile. Okay. So there are some enhancements we have made. For the first time, all these profiles are going to be merged together in a single SDK. Previously, if you see, Tizen SDK for TV was a little different. So now everything is going to be combined in one integrated SDK. So I'm going to explain things about that in forthcoming slides. Then the main question most of you would have, so what is the language you are going to use for development, or what kind of apps you are going to develop? The most basic kind of apps that you can write is C and C++. It's directly on top of the Tizen platform. You just make simple C calls and you can create an application. Okay. Then there is a pure web app which you can write using HTML, CSS and JavaScript. There is a third type as well. Using a combination of these two, that is native apps and web apps, you can create a hybrid. Portions of it you can write in C, C++ and make that some kind of a native app service. Then some portions of it you can write it as web app. These apps, when you want to write, you can select based on your necessity. So there are a couple of sessions which are going to explain how to choose. So there is going to be a detailed developer lab session tomorrow. Please make a full use of it. You can bring your laptop, install, and you can write the application and check it out tomorrow. So it's a hands-on session. It's kind of a workshop, I would say. And there is one more talk about EFL and DALI, which you can check out. I think it starts at 4:30 or so. Then one more session about performance tuning for applications. Tomorrow that session is going to be there. So you feel free to attend any of those. So I'll give a short idea about what are the SDK versions that are out there and what is going to be the future SDK versions as well. Right now, if you see 2.3 SDK is the current version. This is the stable version. If you go to the Tizen website, readily you can download this revision 3 of 2.3 SDK. So the features that are supported here, it supports both mobile and wearable profile, and you can develop C, C++, that is native applications for mobile as well as web applications for mobile, and for wearables you can write only web applications, I mean. Then the next one, 2.3.1, The announcement has been made today, but it will be released soon. Okay. This one, wearable as well as mobile profile both are going to be supported, and here we are going to support C, C++, that is native programming as well for wearable, and this is also going to have support for circular UI. You might have seen in the previous session there was a circular wearable where he was explaining how to write programs for that. So, that is going to be supported. Next one, I have colored this in black just to indicate it is a beta version. So, 2.4 beta version is going to be there, and that is going to support only mobile profile as of now. So, that is going to have mobile profile which is again enabled for native apps as well as web apps, and you are going to have HD resolution support for trying it out on emulator or for developing the app. Okay. Then 2.4 final version, we have a plan of releasing that in the month of October. That is going to support mobile, wearable, and the main addition here is TV profile is also going to be supported. So, mobile and wearable like the previous versions, native app is going to be supported, then web app is going to be supported, TV only web app is going to be supported. So, the main addition here is TV profile, then so on and so forth, the future versions are going to continue. Okay. So, the next question that is going to come is, in 2.4 SDK, what are the new features? What is new about it? I will give a very short introduction to all the new features that are going to be there. There are some enhancements we have made to the install manager and the update manager. There are separate slides for it. I am going to explain what exactly is the novelty in that. Then the second one, for wearable we are going to support native app development as well. Third one, for the first time all the three profiles have been merged together. So, if you see like manifest editor or those kind of facilities, it supports all the, it would support all the profile for 2.4. Okay. Then this might be an interesting feature for people who develop native apps, especially UI based apps. There are some additional tools which are out there which has been newly added. UI builder is there, then storyboard feature has been added. I will come to that again in a detailed section. Then some new analysis tools for applications are also going to be there. So, this will help you in profiling the applications and to find out where is the bottleneck in your program. Okay. Now, as I told earlier, I am going to explain each task by task. Let us first look at the installation task of SDK. Okay. So, in this one I am trying to differentiate 2.3 on the top, that is a black colored one, the image what you see, and the blue and the green lines are going to indicate 2.4. So, there is a important difference here. We have made some optimization in the way you download the image. To previously you had to download an image of 2.5 GB in one shot and then only you can start developing application, but now it is not so. You can do a minimal installation of 600 MB and then continue on with web development immediately, web app I mean. Then if you want some more functionality, you want to start native apps or maybe emulator and all those additional facilities, then you continue and do an upgrade of the SDK. So, then you can selectively install whichever components you additionally want. Okay. Then there is a command line interface also. Some developers request some support like this. We want to have this kind of a command line support where we will do some kind of a nightly build or automated build. So, those kind of facilities are also there. This was previously supported, it will continue to be supported. So, what are the main pain points what people had in 2.3 SDK and what we have addressed? So, I am going to talk about that. The problems what people faced in 2.3, first one, you can only install single version of SDK. I mean single version of the Tizen platform using the installer. The second one, the download image size was 2.5 GB and complete thing you had to download. There was no way to make a incremental update. Then third one, you cannot selectively uninstall what you don't need. You either have to uninstall everything completely or retain the whole thing. Last one, it was not possible to check, easy to check what are the available updates. This was a real problem, I think. So I think some of people who have already used the 2.3 SDK may be familiar with one or more of these issues. In 2.4, all these problems have been rectified. So what you can do, you want to have multiple versions of Tizen platform. Let's say you want to have 2.3 as you are developing for 2.3 and 2.4 as well. Multiple platform versions you can install and you can have using the new installer. Then the second one, you only will have to download a minimal download of 600 MB. Once you are done, you can start web development directly. Third one, you can uninstall selected packages. You can select which packages specifically you want to uninstall and do that. Then last one, it's very easy to choose what are the updates that are available. It shows what are the available updates. You can select them and you can add them. Okay. Now we will go to the second task which I described, walking through the SDK docs. So people may be just curious enough to see what is there in the documentation after installation. In 2.3 version itself, we had a very good set of documents. If you see the content of the documentation, some of them were like very detailed. They had much more information and very descriptive as well. But there were some inefficiencies in that. It was like having much more combinations. You can see directly in the 2.3 diagram what I have shown. Tizen mobile web app programming, there is one section. Then Tizen wearable web app programming, there is another section. So going forward, if we are going to have multiple profiles like this and again multiple types of apps supported, this combination would multiply. So what we have done a very simplified, we are going to give a very simple approach here. What is the developer is going to need? He is going to need tools. Then let him look directly into tools and dive into the categories further. So you can see tools, tutorials, then guides and I'm sorry. Yeah, API document references should be there. Okay. So now what is going to happen? You are going to spend time, very less time in figuring out what is the complexity in the way documentation has been arranged. Easily you will be able to pick up what you exactly need. Okay. One more important addition is there with 2.4 SDK. We are providing something known as the online samples because there is a reason for why we are doing this. Before, once you install the SDK, all the sample applications also got tied together. So it was kind of fixed and there was no way to get new online applications, sample applications if anything was written later than the point of release of SDK. Then there was no way for the developer to know whether this particular sample application is for mobile or for wearable. Then classification of apps were not that clear. So will this app fall into a multimedia kind of app or will it fall into some kind of a chat? So that kind of confusion could have been there before. So these problems have been rectified now. So what new features that have been introduced, let's say at one point you are going to install the SDK. Even after you install, there is a way to update the samples because anyway everything is going to be updated from online server only, right? Then search, as I told, you can search specifically for which profile, what kind of application you will want. Those filters are already available. Then as I told, the category of applications is very clear now. For both native and web apps, you can see app framework, then base, graphics, locations, all these categories are going to be clearly set out. Okay. I want people to see, pay some little bit attention to these two diagrams that I have put here. So, if you see that second one, the blue highlighted one, that is showing online samples. Then under that you can see various categories. Locations are there, I mean locations, then multimedia, then network. So, the applications which are going to come for the sample applications, I mean in the sample application category is clearly classified. You can pick exactly which ones you want. So, that is not a problem. Okay, so we will go to the third one, the third task, where this is the place where most of the developers would be spending their time, really developing the applications and debugging it. There are some new tools which we have introduced for the sake of increasing productivity. So, these new tools are going to help you write lesser code in a very intuitive manner using the GUI, and this will generate the code for you. First one is the UI builder. UI builder previously wasn't there for native, so now that is going to be introduced. There is one more slide, I will show specifically what is there in that. Second one, there is going to be a storyboard feature. This is a new feature we are introducing in 2.4. So, using this you can design flow between one view into another view just by drag dropping arrows. There is a specific video also which I have got, I am going to show at the end of the talk. Third one, I mean the source code automatically gets generated, that is what I have told. There is one more tool also known as Inventor. If you are familiar with EFL, more likely you will know about EDC, that is the edge script. So, edge script is a kind of style sheet. So, using that you can specify what colors you want, what fonts, those things you can mention, plus it has got some additional functionality. You can specify what is the animation pattern you want. So, it is full fledged and it is really powerful. So, with power anyway we are trying to combine some flexibility. So, Inventor tool, using Inventor tool you can generate that kind of EDC file and you can integrate along with your application. Okay. So, typically these are the steps a native application developer is going to do. So, you are going to create the project. When you try creating the project, there are very easy to wizards available, just a few clicks and you will get your basic application set up in your SDK. Then there is a manifest editor using which you can edit your application name, who is the author, email ID, all those things you can change. Then for designing the UI, there are some tools available, which is the native UI designer and the storyboard. Then Inventor is also there. Inventor is already open source tool. For build, we are having Ninja, then LLVM 3.6 is supported, GCC 4.9 is also supported. So, complete C, C++ support. In your apps, if you really want, you can enable C++ 11 as well and you can do it. You can edit these compilation flags also, but I am not covering that, that is advanced topic, so I am not covering. Then if you really want to try out your application and do debug the application, you have got the emulator for mobile and wearable, and GDB is there for debugging. That is a normal debugger, open source debugger what people use for C, C++. Last one, if you want to profile your applications, we have newly introduced this tool called T-Trace. So, T-Trace is going to give a breakup of each API. So, platform, how much time it is going to take, I mean how much time your application is spending in the platform functions, then in kernel how much time, within your app logic how much time it is spending, all those things it would give a breakup. Dynamic analyzer and Valgrind are present in the previous SDK versions also. This would again help you profile your apps better. To create an application, it is very easy. You do not have to read many manuals at all. It is a 5-step process. just create the category, select the category of the application which you are interested in. Let us say some multimedia application, some piano you want, you can quickly select that. Then select the template also. Template again is like that particular application, whatever is there. Third one, you will have to obviously enter the project and the package name. So that is going to depend on what your need is. Then fourth one, you can select profile and version for new app. Profile is which mobile or wearable, then version is 2.3, 2.4, those things you can mention. Last one, you are going to click the finish button and you are done. Your first project gets created very easily. Okay. Then this is the picture of native UI builder which I have put in. So native UI builder, as you can see, the main important thing here is the WYSIWYG editor. There is a palette of the UI widgets what is present. You can drag drop them. For example, here I think some up down spin button is there I think. So you can similarly all these standard templates for all the widgets are already added into that palette. You can pick, you will only have to drag drop, it is very simple. Then you can see below there is one navigation view which clearly shows what are all the available views in your application. So this is going to give a quick preview. Then properties view is there, using that you can edit the properties of any of the widgets. You can select on the widget and you can edit the properties of the widget. Okay, this colorful thing what you are seeing is the storyboard. So storyboard helps you design your application in a bigger perspective. What you can do, for example, let us say I am writing a chat application, I am going to have one login screen, then maybe friends, contacts or buddy screen, then maybe some other favorites screen, something like that. I can drag drop all these views and have a quick view of all these things in one shot. Now this will explain how many this screen, for example, shows how many different views are going to be there in your main application. Then what you can do, from one view to another, you can drag a arrow and you can say there is going to be a transition from this view into another view based on some trigger condition. There is a separate video of that, I will show that. Some other additional tools which we are providing as well. So when you do the build, there is a way of selecting which tool chain you want for GCC. You can choose ARM or x86. Then there are some tools like API checker and privilege checkers. API checker probably will help you find out whether you are using a deprecated API. Then privilege checker is going to say you requested for some particular privilege, but you are not using it actually. That is one case. Another case could be you have not requested for one particular privilege, but you are actually using, yeah, you are not using it, or a useless permission is like requested. Okay. So this is a very simple tool. This is available for native apps. Then the last one is for checking potential bugs. This potential bugs is a C++ static analyzer. What you can do, you can right click and you can say analyze this project. So what it does, it is going to give you all bugs related to your C++ style coding. It is going to say uninitialized variable, then divide by 0, those kind of things it can find out. Okay. So this tool is based on Clang. It acts at a project level, it is not file level. Complete project it will do analysis. Then we have introduced this new profiling tool, T-Trace. This T-Trace, this is the tool I was talking about. What you can do, there are some specific items in the kernel. For example, you can see things like scheduler, then idle, all those times it will show. You can select which particular thing you want to monitor. Then platform calls, how much time it is taking, where is the bottleneck, it can show you. Then the last one, where is the bottleneck in your application itself, it can show you. People who are curious about this particular feature, what you can do, there is going to be one more session by Ravi Shankar Guntur tomorrow in the morning. So you can check out this thing. He is going to give a detailed demo of this particular tool. Okay. Then there are some analysis tools which we are giving. For JavaScript analyzer tool we are going to give. This tool, if there is going to be any stale object that is going to be created by JavaScript, it is going to detect and it is going to say where it is. Then there is a rule checker which we are going to give. It checks potential errors, that is 2.4 any obsolete APIs you are trying to use, those kind of things it will do. Then the privilege checker, same thing what I told earlier, it is supported here in case of web apps as well. Then some complaints related things, coding guidelines, all those things it can check and it can tell you. So we have covered 3 parts. Installation is done, walkthrough SDK is done, development is also done. What is the next thing people are going to do? I mean, in the sense a developer would do. Obviously, he is going to test the application.